What team should go after Kevin Durant the most? And what team should Kevin Durant actually want to play for? Well, I'm going to tell you. But before we get started, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and to continue to support my channel. We're going to talk about Kevin Durant. And what team should most be desperate to go after his talents? And on the flip side, what team should Kevin Durant want to play for the most? And look, we all know what's going on with the Phoenix Suns. Their season continues to be a disaster as they are now 27-32. They're in 11th place in the Western Conference, which means that the season ended today. They would not even make the play-in, let alone the playoffs. And man, it's been a disaster. It continues to be a disastrous year for the Suns. And you know, as I stated about a month ago on my YouTube channel, that I thought the Phoenix Suns should be looking at trading Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And you know, obviously they tried to look at moving Kevin Durant. You know, there's the reports that, you know, they tried to get a deal done with the Golden State Warriors and it kind of fell through and nothing happened. And Kevin Durant didn't want to get traded there. And, you know, he said earlier, I think it was like on Draymond Green's podcast or whatever, that, you know, he felt like that he didn't want to change. He didn't want to move in season, and he wanted to basically give the Suns, you know, a full year to see how things play out, you know, to see the process through, you know what I mean? And, you know, that's kind of where we are at the moment with the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant. But we all know the deal. Like, the Phoenix Suns are going nowhere. They're going to miss the playoffs. In all likelihood, they're probably going to miss the play-in as well. And assuming that is the case, they're going to trade Kevin Durant. It's been reported, you know, we have people like Brian Windhorst who's kind of reported it, that, you know, the Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns are going to break things up. And it should happen because the Phoenix Suns are going nowhere, and they need to go in a different direction, and they need to look at a rebuild. Which brings me to the point that I'm going to make. What team should go after Kevin Durant? And what team should Kevin Durant want to play for the most? And ladies and gentlemen, the team that I'm going to bring to you, the team that should want Kevin Durant the most, and the team that Kevin Durant should want to play for the most, that team's the Dallas Mavericks. I believe the Dallas Mavericks and Kevin Durant need each other. They need each other. Kevin Durant needs the Dallas Mavericks, and the Dallas Mavericks need Kevin Durant. They are the team that checks most boxes as to what each other can accomplish. And quite frankly, I think the Dallas Mavericks have some attractive assets that could attract the Phoenix Suns. You know, and here's the reality when it comes to Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. The team that should want Kevin Durant the most, if you're trying to get Kevin Durant, if you get Kevin Durant, you got to realize this. He's going to be 37 years old this season. I mean, not this season, but this year. He's going to be 37 years old, which means he's getting old. He's in his late 30s. And so whoever gets Kevin Durant, you're getting him at the possibility of him being still peak, well, not peak, but being like all NBA to all-star level Kevin Durant for what, 2 years? Maybe 3 at the most. And so you're essentially getting Kevin Durant for 2 to 3 years. And so the team that trades for Kevin Durant has to be a team that you look at and say, if Kevin Durant's on our roster, we can win the NBA championship. That's kind of the reality with Kevin Durant. And if I'm Kevin Durant, the team that I want to play for has to be a team that I know that if I'm on the team, that if they get me, we can win the NBA championship. There's not a lot of teams that check those boxes anymore than the Dallas Mavericks. And I know there's been a few teams that's been kind of mentioned with Kevin Durant. There's been the Memphis Grizzlies. There's been the Houston Rockets. There's been the Minnesota Timberwolves. Hell, I mean, even had a little bit of a mention of my Atlanta Hawks. You know what I'm saying? And so there's been, there's probably a few others, but those are the teams that have been kind of mentioned a little bit when it comes to Kevin Durant. But like I said before, no team needs him more than the Dallas Mavericks. And here's why I look at Dallas as the best fit for Kevin Durant. As we all know, the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic, a move that many people, including myself, still can't get over. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic. When you trade Luka Doncic and when you get back Anthony Davis, a player that is in his early 30s, you know what that means? That means you're trying to win now. You're trying to win today. You're trying to compete for a championship. You're all in on the now. That's what the Dallas Mavericks are telling you when they traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. And when you're in the now with Anthony Davis, and when you have a guy in Kyrie Irving who's also a player in his early 30s, you're trying to win today. You're trying to win now. And here's the reality with Dallas. You traded Luka Doncic, which means you've gotten you've gotten negative press. You've gotten, the fan base is all up in your neck. They're protesting. They're sending threats at Nico Harrison, the general manager. A lot of Dallas Maverick fans are hurt right now. Do you know what could ease that hurt for the Dallas Mavericks? That can maybe ease the pain just a little bit of their fan base? You know what could help with that for the Dallas Mavericks? How about trading for Kevin Durant? Imagine a big three of Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. If you add Kevin Durant to Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, that team could win an NBA championship heading into that season. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind. Anthony Davis, and Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant could absolutely win the championship. And equally as important, you add a Kevin Durant to Kyrie and Anthony Davis, you could actually get some of those Dallas Maverick fans who jumped off the bandwagon when they traded Luka. Might actually be able to get some of those Dallas Maverick fans back on the bandwagon if you got Kevin Durant, because he would make Dallas significantly better. And here's the thing with the Dallas Mavericks. They actually have some interesting pieces to maybe interest the Phoenix Suns to get Kevin Durant. Because here's the thing with the Kevin Durant. I don't think the Phoenix Suns are going to get the sexy home run return for Kevin Durant, considering the fact that he's 30, he's going to be 37, he's older, he's had a little bit of injury problems, even though he's been mostly durable this season, to his credit. And just the reality that when you're that old, a lot of teams just aren't just going to give you a 4 or 5 first round picks, or maybe even 3 of them. Like, you're not going to get, 3 to 4 first round picks for Kevin Durant, at this rate in his career, because of his age. And like I said, the team that trades for Kevin Durant, you're basically getting him on a 2 to 3 year experiment, because of his age. Like if you're trading for Kevin Durant, you have to believe that if we got Kevin Durant, we can win a championship. And like I said, there's just a select few teams like that, and where Dallas comes in is, I think Dallas has interesting stuff to offer to get a Kevin Durant. Like they could put together a young, talented center like a Derek Lively in the deal. They could put together a PJ Washington, who's another young-ish, high-level starter who plays on both ends of the floor. You know, you can maybe offer Klay Thompson or Daniel Gafford. They also have that 2029 first-round pick. And so Dallas actually has somewhat enticing stuff to offer Phoenix. Now, look, Kevin Durant makes a lot of money, and you might have to include maybe a third team to make it all happen because, you know, salaries, and you got the new CBA, and you got the aprons and all that other stuff. And so it could get a little tricky. But I also believe it's doable. Like, we've seen 3-team trades happen. Like, if teams want it, like if the Dallas Mavericks want Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns want like a young player like a Derek Lively and a pick, it could happen. It could happen, even if it might take a 3-team deal or something. And so I look at it from the Dallas Mavericks angle that you traded Luka Doncic. And we believe that we traded him with the intention that with a guy like Anthony Davis, we can win now. If you want to further enhance that possibility, you got to get Kevin. You do whatever you can to get Kevin Durant and pair Kevin Durant with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. Because here's the thing with Dallas, even with Kyrie and Anthony Davis, I still think they could use a little more scoring on their roster. I think they could use a little more dynamicism, you know, at the wing position. Because you look at their team, like it's a bunch of bigs. You know, you got Derek Lively, you got Daniel Gafford, you know, and obviously Anthony Davis. So you have, you know, your front line, but you're a little short on just shot creation outside of Kyrie Irving, right? And so one could argue significantly that you could use another scorer on the perimeter that could take some of that creation load off of Kyrie Irving. And that's where a player like Kevin Durant comes in for the Dallas Mavericks. And for Kevin Durant, I think Dallas is the best fit for him, just from the standpoint that if Dallas lands you in Kevin Durant, they're automatically a championship contender. Automatically. I don't think you can say the same for any other team if they had Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant were to land in, let me take that back. In Memphis might be the only other argument. Like if you put Kevin Durant with Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., I mean that team would be pretty nice as well. That'd be pretty good. That'd be really good. I mean that's a really good team depending on what Memphis would give up. But you know, on the flip side, like with Memphis, is like, you know, do they have an asset that's as good as a Derek Lively? I don't know. Now they do have a lot of picks, and so that could factor into some stuff. But you know, even with that, like I don't know if like is Jaren Jackson and Ja Morant, you know, is that better than Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving? It's up for debate, you know. And so like you have that, like, you know, Minnesota's been brought up. I don't know, like Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards, like is that a guaranteed title team? I'm not too sure. Like I'm not. You know, I love the Hawks, but you know, if I'm being honest, when it comes to where the Hawks are right now, I don't know if the Hawks are in a position where they should be giving up, you know, the young talent that I just gained and a pick for Kevin Durant. Because even though, look, I think Kevin Durant and Trae Young would be really good. That'd be nice. It'd be exciting. But will it make them a title contender immediately? I don't know. I think it'll make them better, but would it make them a title contender? I don't know. But if you put Kevin Durant with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, there's no doubt in my mind that that's a title contender. And also keep this in mind. You know, you could keep a player like a Max Christie in that scenario because you'll have your defensive guard, you know, and maybe you could keep, a Daniel Gafford, or maybe maybe you have to acquire another center of some sort. Who knows? But the idea of a Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis threesome, it makes perfect sense. And also, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, they all fit. And that's the thing when it comes to these big threes that teams are trying to build. Like, now most of the time, sometimes they don't work out because they're injured. Like we're seeing with Philadelphia with Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey. Like, that's been a massive disaster, in part because Joel Embiid, his body is just breaking down. And so, I feel for Joel Embiid. Like, he just can't stay healthy. So that's unfortunate. But, you look at the big three in Phoenix. Like, it hasn't worked out because, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, like, they kind of do the same thing. Like, no one's a defender. No one's they all take some of the same shots from the same areas of the floor. And so the energy isn't, the chemistry just isn't there. And on top of that, when you look at the Phoenix Suns, they don't have anybody that can play defense. So you got three guys who kind of do the same thing, and you don't have any defenders because you gave up all your assets and picks for Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. And so it's become a disaster. I think whereas you put Kevin Durant in Dallas, you got Anthony Davis as your anchor on defense who can block shots and rebound and do some of the dirty work. And so it would be a little bit of a less of an issue there. And so I love it. And I would love Kevin Durant to go to Dallas and for him to go to pair with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. And for Kevin Durant, to me, you look, things haven't been going too well for Kevin Durant from a result standpoint since he left Golden State. Like, let's just call it for what it is. Like, he went to Brooklyn. Things didn't really fare out too well there, in part because of injuries and a little bit of bad luck. And Kyrie Irving had the little, COVID issues and how he was, just some strange, wild stuff. And, that thing kind of blew up. And James Harden ended up leaving. And so it was just unfortunate. And then he goes to the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns, like I said, they just overpaid for Kevin Durant. And they went after Devin Booker. And their owner got desperate. And we kind of see where the Suns are. They're just a mess. And this little experiment that they went, it just flopped in their faces. And they're kind of in a position where we're going to have to blow everything up. And so I don't think it's all Kevin Durant's fault for what's transpired in Brooklyn and in Phoenix. But he also he's also like in the latter years of his career. And like, I think Kevin Durant is at the point where he needs to go to a team that gives him an opportunity to win a championship, to win at the highest level. And if Kevin Durant were to go to a Dallas and he would be able to win, and if he was to win a championship, it would be a great thing to end his career on a high note in that regard. And for him to quiet the critics that question his leadership and his winning intangibles and all of that stuff, right? And because we all know how the media gets. Like, the media criticizes every star, for the things that they haven't been able to do in their careers and the winning and all that stuff. And I just look at all of the options that are available to Kevin Durant. I think Dallas is the best. Dallas, to me, offers the best opportunity for Kevin Durant. I really do. And I look at where the Dallas Mavericks are. To me, if you want to justify moving Luka, if you want the Dallas Maverick fans to accept, what you did, you're gonna have to win a championship. You're gonna have to win a championship at some point over these next 2 to 3 years. Like, that's just kind of the reality. Like, you're gonna have to win a championship soon in order to justify trading Luka. And because I think Luka Doncic, and look, we all know, we'll see where his conditioning and, his, health and, whether he can keep himself in shape moving forward in his career. Like, we'll see how that plays out. But chances are, like, Luka's he's gonna do a lot of special things for the Lakers. He's just is because he's Luka Doncic. He's one of the top 3 to 4 players in this league. And so chances are the Lakers and their fans are gonna experience a lot of highs in the future. And Luka's going to continue to make all NBA teams and all-star teams and possibly even win an MVP. Like, that's just kind of where it is with Luka. But for the Dallas Mavericks, if you want to offset that, you got to win a championship. And the best chance of the Dallas Mavericks of winning a championship someday is if you go get Kevin Durant. Go get Kevin Durant. Offer Derek Lively and PJ Washington and first round pick or Klay Thompson and whoever, or if you need a 3-team deal or something, make that happen. And go get Kevin Durant. And if I'm Kevin Durant and I'm looking at all the teams that could be interested in you, whether it's Dallas or Memphis or Minnesota or Houston or Atlanta or whatever, the best team for Kevin Durant is the Dallas Mavericks. And hey, that's just kind of how I'm feeling right now. That's kind of how I'm feeling. Like, I just, I think Nico Harrison and James Jones during the summer should get on the phone and talk and hash things out and go through some negotiations. And maybe you probably need to get a third team to make the contracts match or whatever. But at the end of the day, the Dallas Mavericks need Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant needs the Dallas Mavericks.